All right, guys, good morning. So here we are in the financial district. This is a site that we're just starting. It's 40,000 square feet of a white box, which means that the building wants to basically get the space ready for a tenant so they can just walk in and not have to visualize as much demo going on. So that's exactly what we're doing here. This floor is not meant to be super pretty. It's just meant to get down to the structural slab and clean it up, put a little dustproof sealer on it, and call it a day. So I'm just gonna walk you through exactly what we're doing. We're down to the slab as it is right now. So we're gonna work on removing all of this stuff here, patching all of this in, and getting down to as clean of concrete as possible. So on this floor originally, there was an inch almost of self-leveling cement. And a previous contractor came in, ripped up all of that self-level. Took them forever. It was so well bonded to all this stuff. Now we're here to grind off and make it as pretty as possible based on a sample that we provided. So this stuff here, this stuff is all the old self-level that was there. Believe it or not, they don't want this removed based on the timetable that it would take us to do all over the place. So 40,000 square feet, this is a small section. There's a lot of areas where it's bridging over these whole areas, and to remove that, it's gonna take a lot more time than they're willing to allot to us. So on this one, it's a little bit of a wonky one where we have to go around all these metal pieces, tons of edging, and they actually want us to leave these pieces on the floor. So it's not something typical that we would normally do, but in this case, it's a nice sized job. We're gonna accommodate, obviously, our client to their needs and their time schedule, and being that this is not really like tenant work, they don't really need it to be super pretty. This is an old style. This is called, from my understanding, these are called walker ducts. Now, basically what you would have is, here's your electrical closet. And from the electrical closet, you need to feed your entire floor with electric. Now, back in the day, they did it through these walker ducts. And they would take the main feed here, feed it off, and then you'll see it tees off here, and then it feeds the whole rest of the floor. On these old style buildings, not so much in the new ones, but it depends on how big the floor is. You have one electrical closet here, one down there, and then usually on the opposite side, mirroring each other in order to feed these floors. Nowadays, they run them up in the ceiling, and these ceilings aren't even like this anymore, because you can see that they have to run around all these beams and everything like that. Know, when this building is like probably 70 or 80 years old. So it's completely different from the new buildings now. And that's why these walker ducts are not used really anymore. And if they are, it's only a little bit here and a little bit there, because they're running everything in the ceilings. We've done a lot of work in this building. And the first floor that we did here, probably year and a half ago, this very machine was brand new. And it was the first job that it was on. So as you can see, all these walker ducts are all over the place, but you can't see them when there's a layer of carpet patch. And most of the time there is carpet patch and glue and self-level that we were all removing. And we couldn't see it. It was the first floor that we ever did in here. So within 5 minutes of starting this brand new, beautiful, clean machine, we whacked one of these walker ducts. This 1,100 pound machine went 2 feet in the air and it was broken. But fortunately, this is a Prep Master made by Substrate Technology. So you'll see here, all of these heads can just be taken off and put on, and this machine is made to take abuse. So we were just fortunate to take this one off and this one off, put brand new ones on in the field, and it was back to action the next day. We just had to get the replacement pieces from our warehouse and it was ready to go. But I can't say enough about these machines. If this was a different machine that got damaged, I don't even want to think about the kind of repair that it would have to be, because this is a rotary machine and we have planetary machines. The planetary machines are a little bit more finicky and difficult to fix. This is just plug and play. And that's why we were able to get back to the action so quickly. every everything always goes according to plan. On this particular job, we were supposed to have 2 of our 220-volt vacuums here. They're the powerhouse vacuums by Ruvac. We love those vacuums. And when I go to start them up right before we make the delivery here, one is working, the other one turns on for 5 minutes or so and then just cuts out. That doesn't mean the job stops. We had to do a little improvisation, take 2 vacuums, 2 smaller vacuums, and plug them directly into the bottom of the machine in order to make sure that we were here on time, we started, and made sure everything was going according to schedule. It's not ideal, but until the other vacuum gets fixed, we'll use this, and hopefully it's a quick turnaround, waiting on parts and stuff like that, so should be good to go in a little while.
All right, cool. Sorry, something happened. All right, good morning. So we're back here at this large job, and today we have a very large section. I measured it before, it was about 7,500 square feet that's ready for sealer. It's about 1/4 of the floor. So the guys are vacuuming, as you can see down here. They're all vacuuming, getting it ready. We have 2 guys over here starting to do the actual sealer process. You can see that that area is ready for sealer. This area here is 1 step away from being complete. And we don't want to do any more grinding over here today because we don't want the dust to travel into that area and get the dust particles stuck in the sealer, and it'll add like a nasty texture to it, which we don't want. Today we're going to work on doing 2 coats of sealer over there, get that all wrapped up, and then maybe if we have some time at the end of the day, we'll work on grinding back there. So I guess we'll go over, we'll take a look at everybody doing the sealer. They're gonna be going in between all of these walker ducts with the sealer, and we're gonna just be sealing this concrete all day long. If you come down here, you can see you get a pretty good feeling about how long it really is. And this is just 1/4 of the floor. Nate asked us a question here, where do these walker ducts make it easier or harder for us? So the answer is really both in this particular situation. Makes it harder for grinding because I'll show you on the other side with the width of the machine, and you also don't want to hit this metal. If you whack this metal, like I was stating last time we were here, and it's uneven, if you go over it and it's flush, you're fine. But if it's like a bump like that, this'll really take out your machine and do a number on it, because you can see it's just the blades are just gonna hit this and cause the machine a lot of damage. So that makes it a little harder for the grinding. But for sealing, it makes it a lot easier because it's each little individual zone. So you can have one guy working on one area and it's really stress-free because the sealer's not gonna dry, you can keep a wet edge pretty easily, and then you just work on the next section. It's like a typewriter, just keep going. Next. Here we're talking about grinding in between these metal walker ducts, and you can see our PrepMaster 3030 here. It just fits. You have a couple inches on each side, and this is a rotary style machine, which means that you have to slightly swing it in order to erase the scratch pattern and make it so that each step that you do, you reduce the amount of scratches that are in it. This machine just happens to be as wide as you could really go without really causing any damage to it if you were to hit a piece of metal. This is gonna be the second half of this project that we're doing here. So the first half we're working on, well, the first quarter we're working on sealer. The second quarter is almost ready, and then this will be the last half of the project. And as you can see, they put everything on this side of the floor. This is like, standard procedure for our kind of work, because we take up all the floor, we don't want anything in our way. So you have all the masonite, all the old pallets, these are radiator covers here that are waiting to get, either thrown away or repainted. You have all the plumber's stuff. Everything is all in here for the bathrooms and all sorts of other build outs, all the finished lights, because you can see these are temporary lights, these are the finished lights. So all of that stuff is here, waiting for us to finish the other side, and then they'll flip-flop everything and bring it over. And you know, some of the stuff that we usually encounter on jobs like this, or really any job, this is usually all, like, the building takes care of all this, and like they have their painters come in and they're painting everything, making it look nice, refreshed. Same thing as the floor. It's the same story everywhere. They just want to build out the columns, make them look nice, because you can see behind you, this is what the columns look like. It's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but when you take that column and you compare it to something that they just refinished, tying that into our floor, tying that into brand new radiators, it really, when you bring a new tenant onto the floor, it makes a big difference in what their vision is for the floor, because they have like a clean slate. In this case, it's a white box, and you really have, you know, your imagination can run wild rather than looking at a floor and saying, oh my God, look at all of this demo we have to do. These columns are in bad shape. The ceiling's all messed up. These radiators are falling apart. So what we're doing now really helps in the leasing process and getting tenants in, because it, like I said, it alleviates the stress when you walk in to a space that's already demoed, it's clean, it's ready to go, and you know, you could take your imagination and run wild with your architect. Now we're left with this, which is, you know, almost a clean slate. So we're gonna go through like we did on the other side. We're gonna grind everything in the middle. Anything that's like bridging over this, we're gonna end up leaving just due to time constraint. And you know, we're gonna just clean it up the same way we're doing the other side. And you know, once we're done with that side, they'll move everything over. We'll come over here, we'll clean up this, we'll put some sealer on it, and then it'll be ready to lease. All right, so we're back here. It's going along really, really well. We're about halfway through the schedule and conveniently halfway through the floor itself. So this side is now undergoing the entire grinding process. The first half is already done. We'll go over there in a second. So here we have the floor is the same way that it was on the other side, ready to get ground. This area, they're starting to clean up. They're about a quarter of the way through on this side with the first preliminary grind. You can see here, we're buzzing around all the edges of all this metal here, and this is all nice and clean concrete. Then the machine is gonna pass through here and do its thing, clean it all up real nice. You can see around all these edges here, there's just miles and miles of edging to do here between all of the metal tracks in the floor and all of the columns. We have to do all of that by hand. And it's taking a very, very long time because the machine gets only so close before you don't. Some of these are flush to the floor, basically, and that's fine for the machine to run over. But if you run over something like this, where it's a bump in the floor and this metal hits it, you could damage the machine. So we're just not taking the risk, and we're staying a couple inches away from the edge of the metal in order to prevent the machines getting damaged. But it's also taking a little bit more time, and it's obviously more labor intensive to do this by hand. So you can see over here, chipping off some stuff that's on the metal floor, trenches here. It's just all over the place. This floor needs a lot of TLC, and I wish that we had more time in the schedule to really mint this floor out, because I think it could look cool. But you know, at the end of the day, this is what they wanted. They wanted us to go quick. They wanted us just to clean it up and then put a sealer on it. So we'll go over to the other side and we'll check out what the final product is going to be. And I think it's way nicer than anyone really expected. The floor cleaned up real nice. The machine is grinding off everything beautifully, and the stuff that we're leaving behind is smooth. It's right to the floor, and it's taking the sealer really nicely. So you can see over here, we have now a completely different floor. So here's the sealer, here's the unsealed, just prep ground surface, and you can see it's totally different the way it looks. This is nice and smooth, this is rough. The sealer really adds a really nice finish to it. It also makes the gravel stand out a lot, which is nice too. So here's the first half. So I guess if it's 35,000 square feet, you know, it's somewhere between 35 and 40,000 square feet, this job. So it's about, you know, 20,000 and change over here. And they did this in about 2 weeks time. Got everything all prepped out, ground, patched, ground the patch off, and edged everything beautifully. It came out really, really, really nice. You can see the beautiful gray tone across most of the floor. There's other areas of the floor where it's more beige, which this floor has several different pores in it, it seems like. I don't know exactly how they did this. I don't think that they laid this whole floor out and then cut these trenches in. I don't want to say that they didn't, but I don't know for sure. Maybe they put up, you know, pieces of forming and wood and stuff like that and then poured all around it. But there's just a million different concrete pores in here, and you can see all the different coloring in here, signifying the different pores that they got from different trucks and different loads and everything. So some pick it up even right here, you could see that this is a lighter gray than this area here. And this is very common in Manhattan, that you'll get different kinds of concrete in the same exact floor. So in some areas, like we'll do 10,000 square foot, you know, build outs of offices, and we'll get this exact transition happening here, where one will be super dark gray and the other one will be light gray or beige, and we can't control that because that's just how it came from the truck. So unless you can guarantee, like in a new build where it's one truck and it's one load and it's all coming in monolithically, then you're more than likely going to get one color throughout your floor. But if you get something like this, 35,000 square feet, 40,000 feet, you're going to get multiple loads, you're going to get different colors, you're going to get even different aggregates in it, because this one has a finer aggregate than these guys do. This here is a little bit larger of an aggregate than this. This is more like a sandy aggregate. I'm really happy with this floor, the way it's coming out, and I can't wait to see how the second half turns out. All right, so we're back. This big job is finally completed. Looks fantastic. I am blown away by what the team was able to do here. This floor, when we first walked it, it was just a disaster. There was over an inch of self-level on this floor. It all got removed. We got down to the substrate. Through all of that, I can't believe how nice it came out. And even with these metal troughs in the floor, I'm blown away by what the team did. And this, like for instance here, we have to remember all of this was done by hand. And in the middle, we used our Substrate Technologies 3030 Prep Masters. They were the best machines for this job. They were able to take a beating, they're able to keep going, and they really, really minted out the floor beautifully. So we'll just take a walk down here. This floor, we had a very, very tight time schedule. So we had to leave all of this on the metal. We were not touching any of that due to the turnover time. You can see in the middle here, all of this beautiful aggregate exposure. Concrete's beautiful. Team did a great job. Really, really proud of them. All of this, again, all of this columns, edging, hand edging. 2 weeks ago, we had guys here day and night for a whole week, and they killed it. Got all this hand edging done, patching. It's a lot of work, and they didn't miss a beat. Really, really, really impressed. So when you're looking at completing a job of this size, like I said, it was 40,000 square feet, somewhere in there. And then you throw in all of these walker ducts in the floor. If you just had a wide open space of 40,000 square feet, you could run 2 machines on it all day long and, you know, make a lot of progress. And, you know, 4 weeks, you'd be like, oh my God, like, you know, that's plenty of time. But as soon as you start adding layers of complexity, such as all of these columns, and like we said before, all of these trenches, it really tightens up your time frame. When we first got here and we saw all the self-level on the floor, we were like, oh, all right, it's just wide open. You know, we don't have to worry about it. We get 2 machines on it, and, you know, away we go. Then we realized that it was self-level, and then underneath was this substrate. So once the demo company removed it all, got down to the substrate, we really saw what we were up against and decided how we had to go about grinding this floor because it wasn't wide open. It had all of these intricacies to go around. Thank you guys so much for coming along and watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and also hit the bell because that will notify you when a new upload happens from us. And also make sure to comment too. We love responding to the comments. We love engaging with you guys, and it's been a lot of fun. We've only been doing YouTube for a little while now, and engaging with everybody in the comments, maybe even answering some questions and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun for us. So please remember, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks again.